Hey, how you doing out there, Guitar Heroes? All right. Well, I hope you're having a better day than me. Check this thing out. You don't want any part of this. The doc calls it trigger finger. And right now, it's been multiple years, 4 years since this little problem has started to develop for me. So to make a long story short, about 4 years ago, I noticed that my fingers were starting to get weak. I had a hard time making a fist, and sometimes my fingers and my thumb would pop after I would bring them into a fist and then bring them back, and tons of pain. So I went into the doc. He said, well, let's do these injections. So he did injections down at the base of my fingers. And after 2-3 weeks or so, and maybe it was some kind of cortisone or something on that order, steroids, something like that, my fingers felt better, and they were stronger, and I could play the guitar fine, and there wasn't much of a problem. And then about 6 months or so would go by, and then I would notice the same problem was starting to recur again. And so over the last 4 years, I've had four times I've went in for these injections. Well, after 4 times, the doc said, well, that's not solving the problem. A lot of times that will. You need hand surgery. So I went into the hand surgeon, and he said, well, you've got these tendons, and the tendons have 5 little sheaths of tissue that guide the tendons in your fingers. And that allows the fingers to move smoothly and easily back and forth. And what happens is the tendons are getting stuck. It could be a little nodule that's building up on your tendon, or they could just be too much friction in between, which causes this popping kind of a sensation when you squeeze, and then the fingers won't release from a fist. So I went ahead with the surgery just a few days ago, and you can see my hand, it looks like a small boxing glove. The incisions to cut one of these sheaths are down close to the knuckles inside the palm. So just below, the base of the fingers, that's where the first one of these sheaths, the first 5 are. And the answer to solving this problem is that base one gets cut and then allows the tendon to move smoothly through that. So of course the bad news is I have a hard time doing much of anything with this on. He says 2 weeks with this thing on, and I'm going to go in after a week, which is in a few days. I'm hoping that this comes off and maybe something a little less restrictive gets put on. The rest of the bad news, it takes about 6 weeks to get back to full strength. So I'm hoping things are going to move in the right direction. I'll be able to get back in playing shape in no time. But this is something that if you've had some of these sensations in your finger and anything that sounds like trigger finger, and I'd recommend to go on the internet. There's plenty of data or surrounding this thing. And I certainly would recommend that if it's not that bad at this point in time, to get the injections. They worked well for me, and after trying that, and that doesn't quite solve it long term, then the hand surgery, which of course I'll hope that I find out soon, is going to solve the long term problem for me. On my right hand, I've got the middle finger does the same thing. The index finger is a little bit sore as well and weak, and I think it's kind of the same thing. So if I'm able to get through the 6 weeks of this hand, then I might consider the right hand. But boy, it's a long time, and certainly my wife has had to put up with me with this, because I can't hold anything, I can't do much of anything. So she's feeding me, helping me get my clothes on. It's lots of fun. So anybody who has a disability with without the use of one hand, you can certainly feel for them after this exercise. All right, well, I hope you got something out of this video. Thanks for watching. It's not a happy story, but obviously many people do suffer from this trigger finger syndrome, so to speak, and I wish the best to all of them, and hope that they can come with a long-term solution as well. All right, we'll take it easy out there, and we'll see you next time.